So I think that it's really important to understand how different things work so that we can implement them in our body and actually know what's going on. So it might be a bit dry, but it's important, I think, that you know this and how it works. So we're going to look at the 4 different parts of the breath. So we usually look at the breath like it's sort of a wave, in and out, in and out. But when we're breathing intentionally, breath can actually have 4 parts. So you've got the inhale, you've got the retention in, which is holding your breath. You've got the exhale, which is breathing out, and then you've got the retention of holding out your breath. So that's like with empty lungs. So they've all got their own uses. So the inhale, that oxygenates your blood, your body. It brings all that oxygen in to refresh you. The second thing it does is also, there's something called nasal nitric oxide, which pulls in your nasal cavity. So what this does is it opens airways, it dilates the blood vessels, and it energizes your body. So the inhale breath is associated with your sympathetic nervous system. Then you've got the retention of the inhale breath. So that's when you're holding your breath. Okay, so this provides an opportunity for the gas exchange to occur properly. So what that means is it's where the oxygen makes its way from your lungs into the blood, and the carbon dioxide makes its way from the blood into your lungs, ready to be released when you breathe out on your exhale. So that's what comes next, is the exhale. So what the exhale does is it activates the parasympathetic response, and it stimulates the vagus nerve, and it just calms down the body and the mind. So we saw this in play when we did that little test before on our pulse. So you notice that your heart rate dropped as you were breathing out. Your body was relaxing. It was coming into a parasympathetic state. Then the last is retention out. So that's when you're holding your breath but with no air in your lungs after you've breathed out. So what happens here is your carbon dioxide levels elevate further, and that stimulates your vagus nerve even more. Your blood pressure lowers, and that pause allows for more oxygen to enter the tissues for nourishment. So what happens is that this leads to a deepening sense of relaxation. Sorry, I'm just checking my text messages. All right, so the first technique we're going to talk about today is called the box breathing technique. So this box breathing technique uses 4 parts of breathing equally. So it uses the inhale, the hold, the exhale, and the hold. So what you need to do with this one is you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold that for 4. And you repeat this over and over. So this technique is actually used by Navy SEALs in tactical situations where they really need to remain calm, but at the same time they need to be alert. So this balances the autonomic nervous system without showing the preference for either the sympathetic or the parasympathetic nervous system. It means that we get the calming effect of the parasympathetic while we've still got that energizing effect of the sympathetic. So at the same time, which is really cool. We can also use this tool that the Navy SEALs use to create a sense of calm in a time when we need to be switched on. So for example, if there's a deadline approaching, or we're at work, when we're trying to take care of our kids, or when we're playing sport, or even when we're stuck in traffic. So we need to be switched on, but we also want to remain calm. And this is the perfect technique for that. So what we're going to do, we're just going to practice this now. And because it's in a box, that's how I'm going to display it to you guys. So we're breathing in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and then hold that for 4. So that's pretty easy. We'll start now. So in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. One more time. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. So if anyone's made any observations on this, what you probably would have noticed is that your guys starting to feel calm, your heart rate is steady, but at the same time you're feeling quite alert. So that's what's supposed to happen in this situation. And yeah, that's it. So we've got another technique we're going to use as well today. So this technique actually focuses more on the breath retention and eliciting a parasympathetic response through lengthening the out breath. So it's a wonderful tool to use if you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious. So I personally struggled with anxiety and panic attacks for many, many years. And this technique is a personal favorite of mine. So it really assists us to move swiftly into a parasympathetic state or a calm state from the fight or flight as soon as we feel it coming on. So if you're in a really stressful situation and you feel a wave of anxiety coming on, it's really great, especially if you have the opportunity to step away, even to a bathroom or outside, and start using that technique. And you don't have to do that. You can use it and be quite subtle about it. You can use it sort of while you're sitting in a meeting or something like that. And people aren't really going to notice you're doing it unless you make it super obvious. So it's really good, and it has a really quick impact, which helps as well. So we're going to just have a quick practice of this. So what it is, it's breathing in for 4 counts, holding for 7 counts, and then breathing out for 8 counts. So really focusing on that holding and then breathing out. So we'll start like this, and your breath will know, your body will pick up the fact that you need to inhale more oxygen in those 4 seconds just to be able to keep that breath for the 7 and the 8 count. So your body will just pick that up automatically. So don't worry about that. So you need to do this. In for 4, hold for 7, and out for 8. Okay, so I'll call it out to you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll repeat this 4 times. So in 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well done. All right. Does anyone feel really calm? You should notice your heart rate is quite slow at the moment, and you're feeling quite calm and relaxed, and that's the impact it's supposed to have on your body. Now the next one. The next one's quite difficult, especially if you're not used to doing it. So the next one's called the full range breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we fill our whole bodies up with oxygen, starting from our diaphragm all the way up to our throats. So it's really good at toning your vagus nerve, and it can be practiced as frequently as possible for best results. So this isn't one of those ones you'd use in an emergency situation to calm you down. This is the type that I was talking about before that you use every day just to strengthen that stress reduction skill that you've got and strengthen that vagal tone, that vagus nerve of yours. So the more frequently you do it, the better it's going to work for you, and the better over time you'll be at dealing with your stress when it comes along. So the full range breathing is a great to use as well post-workout because it really oxygenates you. So when you've been breathing shallow and you just need to get a lot of oxygen in you quickly, this is a great one for that. It also improves sleep and it improves focus. You can also use it before going into a high stress situation. So not in an emergency where you just suddenly find yourself in fight or flight, but before going into, say, a stressful meeting or an exam or something like that. This is a great one to use. As I said, it might be a bit difficult at first because you haven't really used those muscles before. It's not something that we do unless we do it intentionally. So the longer you do it, the easier it's going to get. It's just like toning any other muscle in your body. So we start, we can put our hands on our diaphragm and feel ourselves breathing in through our diaphragm You should feel your hand raise up. Then breathe in through our rib cage, our upper chest, and then as you reach the top of the breath, you might notice your neck going back. That's completely normal. And then breathing out from your neck, your top of your chest, your rib cage, and letting it out your diaphragm. Now in your diaphragm, your rib cage, top of your chest, throat. Out your throat, your top of your chest, your rib cage, and your diaphragm. In your diaphragm, then your rib cage, top of your chest, and your throat. Out your throat, out your top of your chest, out your rib cage, then out your diaphragm. So you're really getting that full range of breath. We'll just practice it 3 more times. So in diaphragm, rib cage, top of the chest and throat. Out throat, out top of the chest, out rib cage and out diaphragm. In diaphragm, in rib cage, in top of the chest, in throat, out top of the chest, out rib cage and out diaphragm. One more time. In diaphragm, in rib cage, in top of the chest, in throat, out rib cage, out top of the chest, out rib cage and out diaphragm. Now you might have found that was a bit difficult, but as I said, it will get easier over time. Your muscles just aren't used to doing that. But yeah, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get and the better your vagal tone will be and the better you will be overall at being able to deal with stress on a physiological level. All right, so we've got another technique that I'm going to teach you about today. So this one's called the 5-5 breath. So obviously 5 in and 5 out. And this breath is fantastic for dealing with big emotions. So sometimes you might feel overwhelmed by emotions. For example, if you've received some bad news or someone said something that's really hurtful to you, you might have had a disagreement with someone that you care about, you know, when you might feel a bit choked up, like you're going to cry, or even angry. Anger is a big emotion as well that can be released through this. Pretty much any negative emotion you can use this breath to release. So this is another one that you can use in front of other people very subtly, but it also helps to be able to go outside, maybe close your eyes so you can really get into it and really feel into those emotions. So what you want to do is you want to breathe in for 5, imagining that you're drawing energy in from the earth to ground you. And then as you breathe out for 5, you imagine yourself purging and releasing any unwanted feelings or emotions. So we'll do this for 5 times, 5 seconds each. So in 2, 3, 4, 5, and purge 2, 3, 4, 5. So you would obviously repeat that for a longer period of time until you're feeling grounded and until you're feeling that you've rid yourself of those emotions enough that you can continue on with your day. You might not fully get rid of those emotions, but it's definitely going to help to dissipate some of those negative feelings. And as I said, you can do it publicly or privately, but if you can feel into it more, it's going to have a bigger effect. So the next one's a bit different to the others that we've done so far. So the next one's called the breath of fire. So this breath is stimulating and it's used as a tool to detox and massage your internal organs. It stimulates the liver, the kidneys, the gut, the lymphatic system, and also the immune response. It's also great at improving concentration and clearing brain fog. So what it is it's rapid in and out nasal breath while pumping the diaphragm. It looks a bit like this. So as you can see, it's tightening these muscles in here. It's stimulating them. It's pressing together your gut, your liver, your kidneys, all these organs in here. It's really just giving them a good massage. So we can practice that. And this is another one you might find it a bit difficult at first because you haven't built these muscles up, but it really does help tone your core muscles at the same time, which is quite useful. So let's give this another go. How did we all find that? And again. There we go. Do you feel like you can feel it in your core there? And it's really good as well after you've had a big heavy meal. So because it does, it stimulates your digestion. So it'd be a great thing to do after you've just like stuffed yourself silly with, your pizza or your Chinese food or whatever, just to help stimulate that. You can have it alongside maybe peppermint tea, yerba mate, something like that. Just it's a really, as I said, it's really great for your digestive system, as well as, detoxing. All right, the final breath that we have today is called dragon's breath. So I've left this one until last because it's going to be a bit humorous, and I thought we'd finish on a funny note. So you're going to watch me poke my tongue out and look like I'm some kind of dehydrated lizard or something. But this one's called the dragon's breath or the Kali breath. So you use it when you have a feeling of tightness in the facial muscles around your jaw and throat. So you might have noticed that if you have something that you wanted to say or something you needed to let out and you couldn't, you might just feel this tightness or this blockage up here. You might not. It does happen on a subconscious level, so you may not even notice it. But next time this happens, have an intentional think about what's going on in your throat region. So if you can't let it out or you don't let it out, something that you need to say, you really start to feel heavy. You might even feel an energy that's associated with a bitter or a sour taste in the back of your throat. So in medical terms, these are your facial muscles, but in Eastern medicine and spirituality, this might be referred to as a blocked throat chakra. So it doesn't matter which way you want to look at it. It works for both of them. This dragon's breath is a fantastic tool for both. So it's a safe, conflict-free way to release this pent-up energy and clear any blockages you might have in your neck and your throat. So what you want to do, and this is the part that looks a bit silly, but I promise you it works very well. So you start by raising your eyebrows and opening your mouth and sticking out your tongue. Then you breathe out through your mouth while leaning forward, dumping that pent-up energy back into the earth. So grounding all that energy that's stuck here in your throat. It also releases all these muscles around here by making these movements. As you could probably tell, they're not movements you would normally make in your day-to-day life. So let's give it a go. So breathing in and then raising your eyebrows and dumping. All right, how does that feel? Does that feel nice and relaxed now in your throat? If not, you might have to keep doing it for a little while longer. And it might feel a little funny, as I said, and because it looks a bit funny, doesn't it? But it really, really helps with this. And it's something you might not even notice that you're feeling. But once you felt that release, you'll go, oh, wow, I didn't realize what I felt like there. So so now that we've looked at the basic things of breath work, you can have a look. I've got a handout for you. You can take that home with you, and it'll just give you a basic rundown of all the things we've just gone through. And what I'd like to go through with you next is another technique, and it's a technique called EFT or tapping. So we'll just go through this briefly, and also we're going to mix it with something called Ho'oponopono, which is a very heart-opening meditation that it comes from Hawaii.